He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole wide world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands.
Boom, boom. Anyway, welcome back to an episode of Ministry of Truth. I am your number one host on this show, and we're going to listen to some Piers Morgan Uncensored today, because fuck it, why not? And I just feel like it. Just saying. Oh, hello, Zippity, on the Rumble, and on the YouTube. Anyway, before we get into anything, I just want to start off music video, and then we'll talk about more what we're going to talk about today, or more about what we're going to listen to today. Believe we have one news segment, one James O'Keefe update, and then two spirited debates with Piers Morgan and a few other delightful guests. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to the video to get you all warmed up. And, yeah, welcome. Fuck you all.
Roll with the punches. Life can throw a bunch in a row. Keep your hands up, stand your ground, stay on your toes. We gotta fight to survive. This world is bitter and cold. They want you to fail more than you know. Now you know, do something about it. You got something to prove, do something about it. You got nothing to lose, do something about it. There's nothing left to debate. We get one chance at life and we ain't got a moment to waste. Yeah. Let me see what's holding you back. I know we savages, somehow we don't know how to act. Yeah, circumstances can't determine your actions. We came from nothing to something. That means we making it happen. And I ain't rambling, rapping true story, just how it happened. Ain't no mashing the words that just be happen to matching. Trying to imagine this life is just a trip and we laughing. Getting high until we exit the cabin. Roll with the punches. Life can throw a bunch in a row. Keep your hands up, stand your ground, stay on your toes. We gotta fight to survive. This world is bitter and cold. They want you to fail more than you know. Now you know, do something about it. You got something to prove, do something about it. You got nothing to lose, do something about it. There's nothing left to debate. We get one chance at life and we ain't got a moment to waste. Think I need a shrink, I think I need a drink. Got a doctor's appointment and then I'm headed to the banks. Taking all that I have just to fill a prescription. The doc be handing me scripts. He said to cure my addiction. I said, you sure, doc? Shit, you just trying to fill up your pockets. Pharma calling and knocking, you let them in for $1. You trying to solve it, dissolve it, fix the problems you causing. Another coffin preaching, you just trying to make you a problem. Roll with the punches. Life can throw a bunch in a row. Keep your hands up, stand your ground, stay on your toes. We gotta fight to survive. This world is bitter and cold. They want you to fail more than you know. Now you know, do something about it. You got something to prove, do something about it. You got nothing to lose, do something about it. There's nothing left to debate. We get one chance at life and we ain't got a moment to waste. Do something about it. You got something to prove.
Man, I keep forgetting I grew up in the South and in the country every time I see this. How's everybody doing today? Aside from... Oh, give me a second. I just had a update come up on. Let me see if it's worth playing. It's not. I've already heard it. Anyway, so I got a couple of videos for you. This first one is a news segment that I caught on this morning. I had it all fresh in my mind, but I know this lady basically stabbed a 3-year-old And when she is arraigned for it, watch her fucking reaction. Tell me this is the kind of people that we think should be, in society and we should forgive them because this lady might have been a scholar. She could grow up to be a doctor, but that 3-year-old, well, she doesn't care.
Do you have an attorney? You do? Do you have the money or means to hire an attorney? Have you received your indictment?
I don't.
Okay. Have you read it?
No.
You have not read it.
I read
Okay.
it to you back there, right? I did not.
We have a copy here. You can read it.
I don't want to read it.
You don't want to read it.
No.
Are you willing to accept that the public defender has read it to you?
I asked her not to.
I'm sorry.
I asked her not to.
You asked her not to. Well, but she did read it to you, correct?
No.
She didn't read it to you.
I read it.
Okay, well, we can read it in open court.
Wish I had rain, but it's not hot here. Yeah. What the fuck is the work on the
Count 3 alleges that on or about June 3rd, 2024, the defendant did cause the death of J.W., date of birth 10/29/2020, as a proximate result of the offender committing or attempting to commit an offense of violence that is a felony of the first or second degree, to wit, felonious assault, Ohio Revised Code Section 2903.11A1, and/or endangering children in violation of Ohio Revised Code Section 2919.22B2. Count 4 alleges that on or about June 3rd, 2024, the defendant did knowingly cause serious physical harm to J.W. on date of birth 10/29/2020. The defendant did, knowing that an official proceeding or investigation was in progress or was about to be or likely to be instituted, alter, destroy, conceal, or remove any record, document, or thing with the purpose to impair its value or availability as evidence in such proceeding or investigation. I have now read the indictment to you. Do you wish to enter a plea of not guilty?
See.
Pardon me?
See.
What's saying mean? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Now you can talk.
I understand the victims are represented and they want to make a comment before I set bond. Is that true?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good morning, sir. Could you start with your name?
My name is Jared Wood,
Wait, he's a white baby?
father of the deceased,
Yep.
husband of Margot. Your Honor, that day, 1 week ago, she took everything from us. There's nothing
No,
that
not
could ever
child
replace
abuse.
my son.
She fucking killed a 3-year-old baby. Way worse than child abuse. What's up, Bat Mom?
Or anything that my wife and I, even our other kids, are going through. It's horrendous. But I really wish no bail, period. Or extend it to the max limit possible that you can, at the very least. Just do whatever you can to keep this monster behind
Go,
bars.
Bruce.
Thank you, sir. Is there anything else you would like to say?
That'll be it. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Where is he?
When the original bond was set out of Muni Court, the bond was set at $1 million, and it was before the passing of one of the alleged victims. I do not believe that bond is appropriate, given the change in circumstances and the allegations that are contained in this indictment. Bond is set at $5 million, cash, surety, or property. GPS, no contact with any surviving victim or victim's family, DNA order. Judge is John Russo. Pretrial is June 17th at 9 a.m. I'll have signed counsel. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You want me to sign that?
It was outside of this Lorraine Road location where 3-year-old Julian Wood and his mother were stabbed. Shortly after, police arrested and charged 32-year-old Bianca Ellis in connection to this crime.
Both Julian and Margot were taken to the hospital, but Julian did not make it. Loved ones say on GoFundMe they are devastated beyond words, adding that the suspect took something from us we can never get back.
Ellis is seen going to the Volunteers of America thrift store, where police say she stole 2 knives, then briefly stopped in bins and things before walking into Giant Eagle. At 2:58, she walks past the service desk with the knife waving by her side, and no one appears to see it. Then we see her walking near the cash registers. Again, no one appears to see or react to the knife. She then passes Margot Wood and her 3-year-old son, Julian. Ellis immediately turns around and starts to follow them. Cameras show just before 3 p.m., Ellis walked into the lobby and follows behind the mother and son as they exit the store. Cameras then show her following them through the parking lot and to their car.
Probably not really
Truth.
Biden didn't do anything
Very
wrong.
overwhelmingly has a liberal bias.
So this guy, he works for Good Morning America, and he's about to spill some beans unknowingly that, yes, they do pick and choose which side of the news to report and whether or not they want to spin it one way or another. But before we get to that, I still don't know what her fucking defense, why she would say not guilty when 100% proof that you did it. I mean, the video camera can lie, right? Live video camera from the security systems lie. So yeah, maybe she'll get off. This is Biden's America, and you never know. Maybe she's innocent. You guys think she's innocent? I don't think she's innocent. Maybe I do.
The right-wing people.
Yeah, those kinds of people are not necessarily based in reality.
What are they based in?
Ideological dogma.
Yeah. They're and then
leads it go.
James.
First, what exactly? We always hear.
you think it's irrelevant?
I think so.
Yeah.
Mostly irrelevant.
We always hear the mainstream media is liberal and left-leaning, but I don't think that anyone can argue that is generally true. But just how deep does it go? First, what exactly is the mainstream media, or MSM as it's called? According to the Oxford Dictionary, the mainstream media is, quote, traditional or established broadcasting or publishing outlets. So here in America, the primary examples of that would be broadcast networks like ABC, CBS, or NBC.
Good morning, America. Good morning, America. Good morning, America.
Now, for years, one of ABC's shows, Good Morning America, or GMA as it's
I don't know. What can you consider sanity today? Because you can be transgender and not be considered insane. Yet I can be considered insane. It's okay. I'm on medication. She'll probably be free in, I don't know, when 17th, probably 18th. She'll be out in the streets.
It's called. It's been the most watched morning show in America. In fact, just this week, they sent out this tweet. With an average audience of almost 3 million viewers, GMA has tremendous amount of influence. Being owned and produced by one of the biggest broadcasting companies in America, does top-rated GMA have a bias? Let's meet Nick Cerrone, a segment producer and booker at ABC's Good Morning America.
So I work in booking for GMA. We're solely focused on getting the guests interviews for the show.
Is Nick a news guy or a purveyor of opinion and propaganda? Well, here's a little preview.
The truth
Biden didn't do anything
very
wrong.
overwhelmingly has a liberal bias.
Truth has an overwhelmingly liberal bias? Really? Let's dig deeper into this Good Morning America producer. Our undercover journalist met Nick on the dating app Bumble. According to his dating profile, Nick is a single dog dad, newsman, and he'll cook for you. And of course, he's liberal.
A dog dad was just fancy.
So let's dive in. Are shows like ABC's Good Morning America liberal?
Obviously, we're covering it in a neutral kind of a way. We're not a partisan.
Well, clearly Good Morning America is not biased.
It's neutral.
Case closed, right? Not so fast.
a particular story, sure, if it's like something that's clearly positive for Biden, we're going to talk about that story, but it's not like we're going to say, hey, you guys all should vote for Biden because of it. Because that's
not like they're going to say that Hunter Biden was convicted of 3 felony charges. Oh.
Obvious.
Right, that's not an appropriate thing for a broadcast news organization to do.
I can only assume that since they give Biden all that positive feel-good TV time, they must draw out the same respect for conservative counterparts as well.
We could talk about that forever because I find like right-wing crazies so fascinating on like a scholarly level.
What do you mean?
Like, I'm just like baffled about how they move through life operating on those, on that mindset.
Do you think they're like...
well, he said right. So never mind. Continue, because you're just talking about your side with a fancy little letter next to it.
Go ahead. Finish your thought.
No, I'm just kind of baffled. They have to be.
So they're basically propaganda machines.
Yeah, absolutely. Fox News is the biggest. There it is.
Are they seriously actively pushing Biden and the left-leaning ideology? It sort of looks that way. ABC is a broadcast company that holds FCC licenses, so we can assume they're giving Trump equal time.
Are you guys pushing for any stories and segments that would show how bad Trump is?
I mean, the thing about it is that it's plain as day. Even when we're just doing a general segment about him and what he's doing, we don't have to add any spin to it at all, because it's plain as day. It's just factually.
But do you guys try to give those stories about how bad Trump is like more airtime so that people know?
I mean, anything he does is going to be newsworthy. A lot of what he does is very clearly bad. So you guys do facto, yes, but it's not as much as our stated goal is doing this to harm Trump.
So where does the actual truth lie in this type of broadcast?
Are we presenting it in a factual way? And again, sometimes the truth has a very clear slant in one direction.
Yeah, so you don't even need to try that hard to paint him in a bad light, so to speak. It's already bad.
ABC is clearly working a liberal angle. But wait, there's more. It appears they regularly bring in contributors and guest experts to take their dirty work even further.
Now, there are times when, yes, we'll have like a guest, like a contributor or a subject matter expert or something, and they can say all they want. They can say, this guy is a fucking evil piece of shit. They can say that, but when it's coming from, it's not appropriate for it to be coming from our reporters.
So what I'm hearing is that you can pick certain guests to come onto the show that will specifically highlight how shitty Trump is.
And that's my job in a lot of cases.
So you've been able to pick certain guests to go on the show that will basically talk shit about Trump.
Yeah, again, it's always just like very clear to day, so it's not like we really need to try.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Not a week goes by without a news.
He loves to help lie to the American people, guys. He's a good guy. I believe him. The truth has a slant to it, and, well, if you're not on the right side, then you're wrong. All right, guys, we need to jump on the liberal train, because, this Trump train is going to lead us all to prison. Well, as long as I can still vote, then I'll go to prison.
Headline about potential medical supply shortages, threats to our infrastructure, or into the pandemic. Medical education code and opportunities when you need code emergency.health code matter in a lot of present a guest booking. He's clearly biased.
We're supposed to present the truth.
I mean, but like you said, the truth is that Biden didn't do anything. Exactly.
The truth.
Biden didn't do anything wrong.
Very overwhelmingly has a liberal bias.
Yes, he actually said that. This ABC producer who purports to present the truth says that the truth has a liberal bias.
The truth.
Biden didn't do anything wrong.
Very overwhelmingly has a liberal bias.
On top of that, it's amazing to see how this ABC producer is so blatantly condescending towards the right.
I mean, I'm sure that statement would like outrage a lot of those like right-wing, like evangelical Christians, conservative Trump voters, right?
Absolutely, but they're not based in reality for the most part. Anyway,
the right-wing people.
Yeah, those kinds of people are not necessarily based in reality, and you know.
What are they based in?
Ideological dogma.
Yeah.
You know, bigotry.
Bigotry. Yep.
Hatred.
Yeah. Hatred.
Ignorance.
Ignorance.
GMA's host is George Stephanopoulos. That's Bill Clinton's former press secretary. But having moved on years ago from the Clinton gig into the world of journalism, surely George has set aside his political biases by now.
What does George think about Trump now?
Fucking hates him. If I had to guess, just based on what I know about him and what I hear him say on the air and stuff, he's clearly thinks the guy's deranged. You know?
So he hates Trump.
Well, clearly, it's very clear.
Well, there's that. Fortunately for us, our brave undercover journalist is really good at her job. So good, in fact, that she actually brought me up in a meeting sitting across the table from an undercover journalist that works for me.
You don't want any spies. Right?
I mean, that stuff does happen.
What? Sabotage?
You go to Project Veritas.
What?
Project Veritas.
No, what's that?
It's basically their whole thing.
Project Veritas.
They'll like try to infiltrate news or whatever and say like, oh, we're gonna cut footage out of context to like make him seem bad. It's, you know.
So they're right wing crazy.
Oh yeah. They'll like
what the media does, just on a different slant.
Secretly record people and take things out of context, like shit like that.
And then what?
Oh, and release it and say, oh, this person said this, and look how bad they are. You know.
What do you think of that?
it's obviously terrible.
Yeah. Why? Just because like they're attacking people.
Well, yeah, it's obviously it's misinformation.
What? This ABC producer who purports to present the truth, which according to him is slanting left, is now accusing me of producing misinformation? Tell me more.
Or how are they still around?
That will fund it, you know, right-wing crazies and whatnot.
What's his name?
I forgot his name. James something.
James something. What is he doing now?
I don't care.
Well, we're clearly on his radar, and ironically, sitting across from him, hidden camera in tow, is one of our amazing undercover OMG American swipers taking it all in for you to see.
Do you guys talk, like in the newsroom, do you guys talk about like crazy groups like that?
Oh yeah.
What do you guys say about them?
That they're crazy.
What else?
To watch out for them.
I'm crazy. I'm the crazy one, but you're spilling all the beans to a stranger in a restaurant about how the truth is biased and I'm irrelevant, but you're watching out for me because I'm irrelevant. That doesn't really make any sense.
What would you say to someone like James? Like, if you ever run into him?
I'd probably ignore him.
Oh.
You won't like go after him, be like,
I don't care about those people.
But they're hurting, like.
Yeah, sure. And they can go live in their own worlds, you know?
You don't care about him at all. You think he's irrelevant.
I think so. Yeah. Mostly irrelevant.
Well, Nick, signing off from California, this is the irrelevant James O'Keefe. Let's see how irrelevant we actually are when we called Nick for comment. Here we go.
Hello?
Hey, is this Nick Cerrone?
Yes, this is Nick Cerrone.
Hey there. Hey, I got a question for you. This is James O'Keefe from OMG. You're on video saying, quote, the truth has an overwhelmingly liberal bias. I'd like to get your comment. We're about to publish the video of you in the restaurant telling the girl all the secrets about Good Morning America. Can we talk for a minute?
Nope.
And you hang up the phone.
Let me get the number.
We'll see how irrelevant I actually am, Nick Cerrone.
All right. Maybe it's the anti-hero, the promos. He cuts great promos enough to make you believe. Or he's just actually showing you what the people really say. Which, either way, is fucking stupid. All right. So this one's Pierce Morgan. It's about I guess, transgenders again. Mainly because I saw Riley Gaines, and Riley Gaines is looking specifically tasty in this one. But there's a specific person, I don't know if you can guess, maybe he's not flamboyant or anything, who just seems to live in his own little fucking world where there can be no wrong because he's got two of the woke Infinity Stones. Black, and he's gay.
Why do we have to have a month?
The reason why is because it's people like you who don't understand why we really have it.
The LGBTQ plus community has over half a calendar year.
I don't like the flag. I think it's a piece of idiocy. I don't understand why it changes every bloody week. The gender affirming care movement, Nazi, Auschwitz level awful.
You shouldn't even be giving that airtime. He says loads of nonsense.
Well, you say loads of nonsense. I don't deplatform you. How many men have ovaries?
I have no idea, Piers. I'm not in that situation.
No men have
Well,
ovaries.
a lot of you on this panel believe that there is only one type of woman, which is cisgender women.
Are there different
It's
types
not
of black
included in the
people?
conversation.
Or is black just black?
Ernest, if I now identify as a black man, am I a black man?
Why are you conflating race with gender, Piers?
I'm just
It's not
asking
the
you a
same
question,
thing.
Ernest. Am I a black man if I say I'm a black man?
I mean, it's DNA, right? Genetic?
Mothers, fathers, armed
Yes,
forces
just remember.
veterans, fallen soldiers, women, patron saints all have one thing in common. There's one calendar day per year held in their honour. Quite right, too. There's always been a source of some confusion to me that simply being gay or part of the LGBTQ2+ community entitles you to an entire month. I'm, of course, referring to the holy month of Pride, which mandates 30 days of revelry in honour of, as I say, the LGBTQIA. My apologies to A's -2SL+ community. I have no idea what half of that means, but I'm very happy for everyone.
Yeah, she's
to lead
been
the
all
lives they
over,
want.
include Congress.
And admittedly, after reading that aloud, it all makes a lot more sense. Or does it? Clearly, there's a day for every letter, but the serious point here is that this kind of enforced celebration of sexual preferences is, I think, becoming a little bit counterproductive. There are many millions of people, myself included, who couldn't give a damn what you do behind closed doors, or frankly, in front of open doors, and would rather not know about it either way. I don't care. Why should they be browbeaten and shamed into thinking they're bigots if they don't go on with enforced month-long celebrations? This is what happened when Adele called out a heckler who reportedly shouted, "Pride sucks."
What was that? Did you just say pride sucks?
Yes.
Did you come to my show and just say that pride sucks? Are you stupid? Don't be so ridiculous. You got nothing nice to say, shut up, all right?
Charming. And here's the problem with that for young Adele, who was effing and blinding at some, well, you paid presumably very good money to be at that concert of hers in Vegas. It turns out the man didn't shout "Pride sucks" at all.
What?
He shouted "Work sucks," to which most people probably would have agreed with him.
Yeah, it sounds
including, judging by the whining that she's been doing since she got the gig in Vegas, Adele. But maybe he's employed by the BMW marketing department, which has been busy fielding complaints this week about another recurring Pride problem: corporate hypocrisy. The car maker dutifully changed its logo on social media to reflect the Pride rainbow, keeping with many thousands of virtue signaling corporations across the Western world. The followers in the Middle East, where homosexuality is commemorated rather differently, got the plain old blue and white. After a backlash, BMW posted, "This is an established practice at the BMW Group, which takes into consideration market-specific legal regulations and country-specific cultural aspects." Well, there we have it then. These companies don't care about gay rights.
I'm not buying BMW.
They're not making a stand at all
Saudi
on any
Arabia.
principled level. They're just adjusting their virtue signaling to amplify their virtue so they can sell a maximum number of products in any particular country of the world, regardless of what that country actually thinks about things like homosexuality. And as a very unhappy marriage of Dylan Mulvaney and Bud Light shows, they will drop the cause like a flaming hot potato if it costs them money or there's any kind of backlash. Now, I fully support LGBT rights. I can only remember those four, so my apologies to the rest. I always have. And I don't need a rainbow on my cereal box, credit card, sandwich or beer to prove that. And I certainly don't need it for a month.
The fuck?
In a moment, we'll debate all things Pride with tonight's pack: Esther Krakow, James Barr, and Ernest Owens. But first, returning to Uncensored is Riley Gaines, whose new book appropriately is titled "Swimming Against the Current: Fighting for Common Sense in a World That's Lost Its Mind." Well, Riley, great to have you back on Uncensored. How are you?
I'm doing great, Piers. It's great to be back on with you, so thank you.
Well, listen, you're one of my heroines out there because you fight what's often been a very lonely battle against this kind of woke nonsense that's been happening, certainly in the sport that you were so accomplished in. Tell me the premise of the book.
Yes, it was a whirlwind. To be able to add author to my resume now is crazy. But the premise of the book, look, of course, a little background on me, what it takes to be an elite athlete, something that I think a lot of the people who are ultimately making the decisions, making these rules, don't understand. More depth and count of what we went through at that national championships in regard to the unfair competition and the locker room. Of course, the silencing again, something I don't think a lot of people understand. Why so few have been willing to put their name and their face to this. How we got here, the trajectory of where we're going. And what we as everyday people, common sense human beings who intuitively know that men and women are different, what we can do to combat this movement.
It is extraordinary to see what's happened in sport, but I do think that the woke worm is turning. I am beginning to feel like the silent mass majority are beginning to rise up and say enough of this. This has to be sorted a different way. When you see what's happened in swimming, in sprinting, in any sport that requires a fairness and equality around size and power and speed, which of course is determined largely by biological sex. It's why we separate the sexes for the Olympics, for example. I do feel the tide's turning, pardon the pun. Do you feel that?
100%. I feel more hopeful now than I have felt in these past 2 years since I've taken this stand. I think parents are waking up. I think coaches, female athletes, medical professionals. I think your everyday person who otherwise maybe would have considered themselves apolitical, probably people who thought this never would impact them, their families. They're understanding now that no one is immune to this movement. It's infiltrated into all levels, whether that's corporate America, whether that's academia, of course, within our government, our media, what have you. And they're understanding it's up to us as everyday people to call out the hypocrisy and push back. So, yeah, I agree. I feel very hopeful at this point in time.
What do you feel about things like Pride Month? I mean, like I say, I support the LGBT community, always have done. But I find this whole idea of a whole month being set aside for celebrating Pride. I'm like, why? Why do we give 1 day to veterans of world wars and a month to gay people, for example? No harm intended on Mr. Barr here. I'm sure he'll be as fond as kind to. But I have no issue with James and his sexuality.
Thank you.
Why do I have to celebrate it for a month?
I should say no issue with yours, Piers.
But
I would rather you didn't ram it down my throat all the time.
There's no danger of that happening. But I just wanted to... But to be clear, there's no straight month, right? There's no celebration of my sexuality or ramming of anything down people's throats. But Riley, before we all lose the plot here, how do you feel about enforced virtue signalling, where if you don't go along with this, then you're kind of lambasted as a bigot? We see it in all sorts of different ways. I remember with the George Floyd murder happened, a horrific thing, which I wrote.
They always say that, not always, but they always, I just said always again, that when you compare conservative women and liberal women, there's a huge fucking difference. And 9 times out of 10, it's crap.
And spoke about a lot about how horrific it was. And it had to affect real change, which it did. But that day when everyone was told to do a black square on their Instagram for a day, and I just didn't want to do it. And I instead posted a picture of myself in my local park with a bottle of rosé and got completely annihilated by people who felt this meant I must therefore be a racist. And I was like, no, I spent all morning actually debating this on television. I wrote a column about it, and then I fancied a glass of rosé, and I fancied exercising my free speech rights to post a picture of said bottle of rosé on my Instagram. And yet I literally had my kids ring me, my sons, who were being bombarded with abuse. What is your father doing? Why isn't he doing the black square? And I feel the same about the backlash that comes with things like Pride Month. It's like if you don't go along with all this, somehow you must be homophobic, which I'm not. Your thoughts?
Right. No, I totally agree. I just want to know what posting a black square on Instagram, how that helps quite literally anybody. And yeah, to your point, Piers, look, the Pride movement, it's not just one day, it's not just 1 month. The LGBTQ plus community has over half a calendar year in days. There's Trans Visibility Day, there's Asexual Awareness Day, there's Gender Fluid Day. I mean, I can't even keep up. And yeah, it's not even about that these days exist or that they're divisive, I think, in their true nature. The problem is, just as you said, the backlash, the risk, the threats that we face if we don't participate, or even if we dare to question this. And again, it's in every single realm of society. This has seemingly overtaken the public square. And I think the same sentiment you had, what people do behind closed doors, by all means, that's the beauty of living in America, in my case. That's the beauty of where we live.
Of course.
But I don't want it to cost my taxpayer dollars, and I don't want to be forced to support this. Because as a Christian, I mean, I don't support it. But that doesn't mean I want to infringe on someone else's rights, just as I don't want my rights as a woman infringed upon.
Well, let me play a clip before we come to the rest of the pack. This is Jordan Peterson who's gotten to a furore over his video about Pride, where he says a sexually narcissistic movement headed for a fall because it's been taken over by the radical trans lobby. Let's take a look.
There's a real tinge of narcissism, sexual narcissism, a trans-pushing, gender-affirming butchers and liars.
Years ago.
Primarily target young people whose most likely outcome on the sexual front is homosexuality. I don't like the flag. I think it's a piece of idiocy. I don't understand why it changes every bloody week. And I think the surgery, the gender-affirming care movement, I think it is Nazi Auschwitz level awful.
Mr. Barr.
What on earth is that closeted gay man wearing? That is an abomination. That is a crazy load of absolute bullshit. I'm sorry. That is insane. How dare he say that about Auschwitz? Gay people were killed alongside Jewish people and disabled people in the Holocaust. That is disgusting, Piers. That is disgusting. You shouldn't even be giving that airtime.
Well, he's a very famous guy.
Yeah, but we shouldn't be listening to what he thinks. I mean, he says loads of nonsense.
Well, you say loads of nonsense. I don't deplatform you.
No, I mean, I do agree with you. I agree with you, James. Wow, that drawing likeness to Nazis and Auschwitz is a bit extreme. However, he does make a valid point that.
Well, he was talking specifically about
the butchery of gender-affirming care.
That's what he was talking about.
I'm sorry. There is nothing positive about basically castrating people and chopping off their breasts and their sexual organs to try and affirm anything other than some deep psychological distress. And I think that's the point he should have made instead of comparing it to Auschwitz, because it doesn't always have to be compared to Auschwitz. That's a very touchy topic.
Everything that's been said here so far, I could write an essay about it. I have so much to say, and it's difficult to just respond to literally all of the insane things that have been coming out of your mouths over the last 10 minutes, to be honest.
What was insane about anything Riley said?
I do find behind closed doors
what was
quite
insane
offensive.
about anything Riley said? This is what Riley
Listen, can I just reply to Esther first?
You can.
I don't want to disrespect
everything Riley ever let you go. She said that it's insane.
It's a great question.
You want to move on?
No, I think what she said about how she doesn't agree with it, but whilst also saying, I don't. Well, that's not really supportive,
have to
is
agree
it?
with you.
It's not supportive.
She doesn't have to agree with
why
you.
does everyone need to support?
They
something
don't.
that
They don't. But let me just try and make one single point, if I can.
It's not compulsory
please
to
make a
support
point.
anybody.
It's not that these concerns that Riley raises aren't important, or that women's safety isn't important. All of that is important. And what happened to Riley, it's an important story that we should listen to. Everyone should. And the left shouldn't be attacking you for that. That literally shouldn't happen. No one should be attacking anyone. We should listen with empathy.
Yes.
But I think the issue occurs when we look at abuse rates in America for women, right? It's 1 in 3 women that are abused by men in America. You haven't commented on that. You haven't commented on abortion. You haven't commented on so many things. Trump discussing that it's okay to grab a woman's pussy. You don't make comments on those issues. And those issues are affecting more women than a trans woman in a changing room, because there aren't that many. There's only 700,000 trans women in America.
So because
they
Riley
can't all be abusing women, that would be insane. They're too busy.
All right, I'll let Riley answer that herself.
There's a reason why. there's
Go on,
a
Ernest.
reason why for this, though. The truth of the matter is that, thank you. The truth of the matter is that there's always this conversation about the woke group, the far left group that's pushing an agenda. But we got to be real about the people like her who's pushing a far right agenda that oftentimes is
She's not
fixated
far
on
right.
coming after people of color,
What are you
coming
talking
after
about,
queer
far
people,
right?
and also pushing an agenda that
Ernest, when
the
did
same
Riley
way that I'm
Gaines
like, what do you
be
mean by
far
woke?
right?
You don't even know what woke means.
Hold on.
You don't even know
Okay,
what
that's
woke
fine.
means, right?
That's
It's
fine.
the-
Can I
it's
just
the
ask you a
rhetoric
question?
that
Can I
you
just
use.
ask you a question?
And that's fine.
Hold on, Ernest.
right?
Can I ask you a question just to clarify because I'm none the wiser? Define
Sure.
far right. What's the definition of far right?
Far right are people that are pushing homophobic, transphobic views, misprescribing, misdefining terms such as woke. None of you all seem to really know what woke means, but you like to use it.
remember
for
when
5
woke-
seconds.
That's not a
So if you're
definition.
gonna
Be a good thing. Somewhere in the changing of definitions, it became a bad thing.
I literally wrote a
Just
book
people
about
you disagree with.
I'm going to call
That's
you all
far right
far
to you,
right
people you disagree with.
conservatives.
Wait, see,
Like, you
okay,
calling me
hang on.
No, it's the same thing with
Hang
left.
on.
Anybody you don't agree with, you call woke. So if you're gonna call
I call
anybody
it
you don't
woke.
agree with
Person who
woke
has said
or
woke this
extreme or
entire
lefty,
time.
Yeah,
then
literally.
I'm
I don't
gonna
even know
call
what that
you
word
all
means.
that.
That said woke.
I'm gonna call you
Let me
all
say
that.
something.
It's the past tense.
You saying that I'm
Like I
a
said.
far-right homophobe. My response to that is saying that men can identify as women, and lesbians who don't want to date these men who identify as women. That is homophobic. You are using lesbians as your political pawn, and that's sick. Lesbians don't want this
Riley, you've just come out with that
Right,
from
so
nowhere.
why are
That
you
wasn't
calling a
anywhere.
political pawn?
That wasn't
Why
part
are
of
you
this
calling a
discussion.
political
Where's that come
pawn?
from?
Because he called me a homophobe, and I'm sitting here saying I'm fighting for
Well,
the
I
sex-based
think
rights of lesbians,
We
of
get
women.
emotional about this, and we're right to.
Get emotional about a lot
you're
of things.
discussing our
Why-
rights. and
How
it is
do you
upsetting.
conflate? How do you conflate?
Hang on,
please
don't talk over each other.
transphobia
Hang on,
with
hang on.
fighting for
Ernest,
women's
Ernest, hang on.
rights?
Don't talk over each other because otherwise we can't hear what's going on.
Yes.
You see, James, it's interesting because you showed zero support for Riley's
That's
campaign.
not actually what happened. I just showed some
no,
support.
I'm talking about her campaign. You want to campaign about everything, but she's actually chosen the one that has directly impacted
No,
her
my
life.
question is
No, hang
why
on.
aren't you
I haven't asked you
concerned
the
about
question.
that too? Well, let's ask Riley if she
I'm
is
about
concerned
to
about
She
that.
hasn't been
you-
hit by a man, James.
No, I'm going to come to that, but she's not here to talk about abuse of women. She's talking about the infringement on women's rights to fairness and equality in women's sport, which she herself has personally suffered from, right? Now, you have shown zero support for
That's
any
not
women
true.
like Riley Gaines.
That's not true. I just said it's an important
literally
story.
said in
I
sport-
literally said it's an important story that
Sorry,
we need to
last
listen to.
week you
That's
said
what I
it-
said.
last week you
Piers,
lit-
I literally just said 2 minutes ago it's an
If I
important
may
story.
say, if I
that
may
we need to
remind
listen
you,
to.
I know a week is a long time in James Barr's memory lapse,
But it was over a week because you've been on holiday.
Last week, I had 3 days off. Last week, you said that the Olympics should be gender neutral.
Well, I still think it would solve a lot of problems.
It would solve zero problems.
It would solve so
and that
many
shows,
problems.
And that, my point, and
But
I'll
I'm
bring-
not a sports
Let me
commentator.
bring Riley.
I don't know sport.
Oh,
but I'm
come
telling you,
on,
I think we
James.
should listen to Riley's story. But my issue is not the story or the concern. My issue is that it's the only concern. And then when we drill it down,
It's literally
and we
her
say,
campaign.
Well, what do you think about abortion rights in America? What do you think about what Trump says? You don't want to comment on
What
it.
do you think about the Uyghur Muslims in China?
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that's her
What have you tweeted about the Uyghur Muslims? You haven't.
About that.
So you're a
I
bloody
don't know
hypocrite.
about it.
So be
I'm not a
quiet.
hypocrite, but I'm saying
Not everyone
that's
has to do every
why I'm
campaign.
trying to explain why the
Sorry.
left get upset.
All right, fine.
It's
Let me-
because we're
let
looking
me
at it and
bring
we're
Riley-
going, the only thing you're bringing up is trans.
Let me bring in Riley. Let's try and get some
That's
order
fine.
here. This is
But
exactly
here's
my
the issue. The
Ernest,
hypocrisy
wait a
is-
moment,
the
please.
hypocrisy
Wait
is-
a moment, Ernest.
Yeah.
Riley, here's my point. We've just seen right there the hypocrisy.
It's not
Right there. Right?
I'm
Is
trying
that-
to explain.
When I say to James Barr, why don't you talk about Uyghur Muslims oppression? Whoa.
Oh.
Why
Why
should
don't
I?
you talk about Uyghur Muslims?
Why should I? I do.
Right.
Why should I? He doesn't. But he wants you to talk about all
No,
these
I
other
don't.
issues.
I am trying to explain why we get upset. It's because we look at it and we go, why is J.K. Rowling only concerned about this one thing?
She's
if
not only
really
concerned about
women?
that. She
And
tweets
why-
about a lot of stuff. Let me bring in Riley. You'd be very
I
patient.
think it's
Listen to this. Riley.
entirely disingenuous to say that this is the only issue that I care about. I spend majority of my time advocating for this issue, but that's not to say that I don't speak on other issues. A big campaign of mine and what I am advocating for now is women in prisons. Women who are most of the time victims of domestic assault, domestic abuse, to which your point, I will say any form of sexual violence, any form of domestic violence that women face is entirely wrong and should be denounced, and those who commit it should be criminalized. But a large push right now is for fighting for these women in prisons, incarcerated women. They still deserve sex-based protections and their rights too.
But it always comes back to this one issue, which only affects less women than the major.
Does that make it? Does that make it?
It doesn't make it wrong, and it's okay that that's wrong.
Let me bring in.
Explaining why we get upset.
Right.
Don't talk over each other. Ernest.
Right. Yes. The point I'm making is that that's exactly the point I was trying to make earlier, is that while she cares about other issues that are very important, and I agree with her on several of those issues, she's being platformed only when it comes to particular issues that are divisive, that are transphobic, that do not show the full nuance of her explored interests.
It's
And
not
so that's what it
transphobic to
is.
think
The issue is
6'4"
that we're having a
biological
conversation.
males
Why is
should
this
not be
conversation
competing
being
against
conflated
women.
with Pride Month? Why is this being conflated with Pride Month, Pierre? Why?
Want to just it's not being
Why is she here
conflated.
talking about? Why is she in the conversation around Pride Month?
She wasn't. She was in a conversation about her book, which then led to a conversation about
it's
Pride Month.
but she's talking. But she's also
Because
in a
Pride Month
conversation about
affects
Pride Month.
every
Why is there a
single
conflation there?
Pride Month affects
because it goes aligned with your far right agenda.
Why
and
do-
that's why
all
you're
right,
bothered.
she's not far right.
That's the issue that we're
She's
talking about.
not
on the
true.
channel.
Ernest, let me ask you.
What do you
Ernest,
know about me that
Ernest,
could
why do we
possibly
have
make
to
you
have?
far right?
I want to ask Ernest a question. Why do we have to have a month of Pride?
Go ahead.
Why?
Because the reason why is because it's people like you who don't understand why we really have it. It's not really about
No, I don't.
sexuality. It's
So
about
explain to
allowing
me. I still don't
people who are
understand.
like
Go on.
myself, who don't feel like they're being represented or being protected in a world and a society where people like Riley gets a platform to spew misinformation.
What's
And so
the misinformation?
visibility, Representation.
What's
is
the
important.
misinformation, Ernest?
The misinformation about gender.
Tell me
Like, you're
one
over
thing
here
she
acting
said.
Like
Tell me
there is
one
this
thing
big,
she said
huge
that's
attack.
wrong.
Weaponizing transgender people.
Tell me
as an
one
attack
thing
on
she
women.
said, Ernest, that's
That is
wrong.
just the biggest.
Ernest.
And I just said that.
Ernest.
And I just
no,
said
no.
it.
I think it's
Say-
the vibe,
I want you
right?
to
You didn't hear what I
correct
said.
one thing she said that was wrong.
Can you hear?
Yeah? Answer me.
So, transgender people's existence does not threaten the existence of women.
No one has said
Christian?
that. Nobody said that.
But it is the vibe, though, isn't
Hang
it?
on, no.
That is the vibe of this whole debate.
No.
It is,
No.
though. That's definitely
I'm
the
sorry.
vibe. I'd say that's the vibe of your whole channel, actually.
Ernest, nobody has ever
That's
said
the
that.
vibe.
No one said that.
It's the vibe.
I support trans rights,
Ask her the
fairness, and
question, does she
equality.
believe that, though?
You
I'm
cannot
not
think of a
talking to
single.
you.
Ernest, nobody has ever
That's
said
the
that.
vibe.
No one said that.
It's the vibe.
I support trans rights
Ask her
to
the
fairness
question,
and
does she
equality.
believe that, though?
You
Ask her no,
you
I'm
cannot
not
think of a
talking to you,
single
Pierce.
thing.
Ask her that.
All right, I'm asking you
Ask
one
her.
more time. Tell me one thing
Ask
Riley
her.
Gaines has said, this far-right lunatic who's lying apparently. Tell me one thing she said that is actually factually untrue.
Like I said before, trying to position
You can't answer, can
and
you?
over-index transgender people in sports. I said it again. Over-indexing the role of
Okay,
transgender people in
I have a
sports
question for
as
you.
if it poses a threat to cisgender women.
Cisgender?
That's
I've got a question
BS.
for you then, Ernest. Why aren't we seeing women infiltrate
Go
into
ahead.
men's sport?
Yeah, of course we're not. Because they can't compete. You don't see any trans
there's-
men going into men's sport, do you? Because they can't. They'd lose.
And I don't.
Ernest,
I'm trying to figure out
I'm
what
pretty
are
sure there
you
are.
trying to say.
There aren't. There are no
pretty- I
Are
trans
you
I
trying
men
to say
competing
that
at a high level
transgender
in
women
men's
are not
sport.
women?
It doesn't happen.
No,
Doesn't
trans
exist.
women are not
No, I
women.
want to hear this.
Transgender
She
men.
does not believe that transgender women are women.
Because they're not.
Right. And
They're
there you have
not.
it.
For the love
Esther,
of God,
We
they're
do that. I don't
not.
think we should get into
They
that
are
because
not
honestly,
there you
I
have
find
it.
that
And for,
offensive.
please,
transphobia
please
is
stop,
here.
please stop
There you
abusing
go.
women by calling us cisgender. Women are just women, right? Anything else
So
you
see
can
how she
add on
said
the
abusing
embellishments
women?
to it.
So she
They
does
are-
not.
that
She
doesn't
does
make
not
you a
consider
woman.
trans
I can't believe
women
we have to have this
women.
You know where
conversation.
this
And
takes
she
you,
considers
Ernest?
abusing.
Ernest.
These are far.
Ernest.
These are far. These are
Well, you mean
far right talking
biological
points.
reality is
Ernest,
far
you know
right?
where this?
Is that it?
Here's where
Hey,
this might.
Ernest, if
Hang
I'm
on.
a
Hang
transphobe,
on.
then you are a misogynist.
And
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
conflating with Pride Month.
That's complete nonsense. The Ovarian Cancer UK.
So defending
Hang on,
transgender women
Ernest,
and
keep
defending
quiet for a
women
moment.
overall is putting you in a
Ernest, please
position
stop
to call it
talking.
misogyny.
I'm reading something.
I love you, Ernest.
The Ovarian Cancer UK tweeted today.
Love you too.
Did you know that anyone with ovaries, regardless of gender identity, can be at risk for ovarian cancer? Let's raise awareness by asking, can men get ovarian cancer? Oh. Oh, hold on a second, guys. I gotta check the signs and symptoms of this. I want to make sure I don't have ovarian cancer. James Barr, men can't get ovarian cancer because men don't have ovaries. What is a leading cancer charity doing? Asking this stupid question.
What are you doing attacking a charity?
Because I think that is attacking women.
Why are you attacking a charity?
Well, I'll tell you why. Because a woman then actually messaged me who has terminal ovarian cancer, who says the idea of being on a tiny ward with somebody identifying as a woman next to her who actually has a penis and is a man, right, fills her with utter horror.
Because of
as
all
she
the
faces her
nonsense
last few
and
months of life.
fear-mongering that this platform is creating.
No, she's a woman. Doesn't want to be around men.
Listen to me.
When she's dying.
Listen to me.
In an ovarian cancer.
If I decide to drink oat milk, that doesn't mean that actual milk is no longer is being threatened, okay? And in this case, this charity want to raise awareness about maybe 1%, if that, of people.
Kind of is, because the way they want it, they want to get rid of cows, remember? Because they're bad for the environment when they fart.
That could suffer from ovarian cancer.
So how many men? Okay, let me ask you. How many men have ovaries?
I have no idea, Piers. I'm not in that situation.
How many?
But they put it in their tweet. If you read it properly, it actually says what the statistics are.
No
it
men.
does say.
No men have ovaries.
Well, according to
women,
a charity that work in this field, they do.
Men
so why don't you take it up with the charity?
No women have penises.
Well, according to the charity, who I think probably know more about ovaries than you do, because
they clearly
you aren't a
don't.
woman, Piers.
They
neither am
clearly
I.
don't.
Sorry, look, you know so much about women. Your wife took a 2-week break from you, so I don't know why we're listening to you talking about women constantly. Can we just get back to the fact that they are trying to help someone?
My wife did what, did you say?
Didn't you have a sabbatical from each other?
It was actually a lot longer than 2 weeks.
Was it?
Yeah.
How
I
long was
recommend it warmly with us. I wouldn't mind one from you. Let me bring Riley back in. Riley, this is the trouble. When you ask specific questions, Ernest, stop shouting.
Everybody, the conversation is clear.
Yes, go on, Ernest.
So I got to be quiet. But
go on, Ernest.
He's the kind of one.
In a nutshell, the larger point I'm making here is that the reason why I'm saying transphobia is because it's clear on this panel that a lot of you on this panel believe that there is only one type of woman, which is cisgender women. And anyone else does not prescribe to that definition for you all.
No.
And in my opinion, that is transphobic.
Here's what I
believe. You only
believe.
believe that
Let me
cisgender
answer,
women
Ernest.
are women, and everyone else
are there different
is
types
not
of black
included in the
people?
conversation.
Or is black just black?
Well, it
It's called
depends because you have blacks, and then you have niggers. 2 different kinds. I mean, I thought that was known. I learned that from a black person, if I remember right. Or was it some bunch of racists? I learned it somewhere.
That's because because black is just
Jamaicans.
black. Just like there is no such thing as cisgender and transgender. There are just women. You can embellish your titles with whatever you want.
Why are you conflating
and walk
race
down the
with
street
gender?
in a-
Let me ask you this, Ernest. Ernest, let me ask you this.
Why are you conflating race with gender?
Hang on, don't all shout. Ernest, let me ask you this. If I now identify as a black man, am I a black man?
Yes.
Why are you conflating race with gender, Pierce?
I'm just asking you a question, Ernest.
That's intellectually dishonest.
If I identify...
That's intellectually dishonest.
Maybe, but it's a question you don't want to answer, isn't it? If self-identity is limitless...
Because
I'm
race
now
is not
a black
the same
man
as gender.
called Ernest.
Because race
Am
is not
I?
the same as gender.
Am I a black man if I say I'm a black man?
Say it again.
Am I a black man
Listen,
if I say I'm a black
you
man?
can be...
Am I?
No, because you're a
Okay.
white man, because
Thank you.
it's race.
So you don't
Because race
respect
is not
my
the same as
rights
gender.
to identify as a black man, do you?
That's
Do you think it's
racist-phobic,
ridiculous?
buddy.
You can identify as a black man. You can identify as a black man, Pierce, but I know you lean on white privilege more than anything else.
Okay,
So
just to be
you wouldn't
clear,
if you wanted to.
you wouldn't respect my
So don't
rights
even
to
be
identify as a...
intellectually dishonest.
You don't respect my rights to identify as a black man. In fact, you think it's ridiculous, don't you, Ernest?
You could, Pierce, you could if you wanted to. And
Yeah,
the reality is
would
that
you
in
respect
society,
me,
a white
Ernest?
man like you
Would you
can
respect me?
identify as black
Would you
and
respect
not,
me
and not
and
be
refer to
harmed
me as
in
a
the
black
same way
man?
that a transgender person would.
Would you respect me and refer to me
Say
as
it
a black
again?
man? Would you respect me and refer to me as a black man? Yes or no?
No.
No.
Thank you, Ernest. Okay, let's move on to something else. This is...
The point is
No,
so
no,
low.
Ernest, you had your chance. You had your chance. Ernest, you had your chance. Obviously,
Come on,
you wouldn't accept it because I'm not black.
You didn't even post a black square.
I'm not a
Piers.
black man. But you know what? Let's move on.
didn't.
Let's move on to some
You
other
don't want to be a
lunatics.
black man, Pierce.
Let's
You
move
don't
on
want
to...
to be black.
Right, calm down, Ernest. Let's move on to Ali
You
Baldwin.
don't want to be black, Pierce.
I want to move on to Ali Baldwin and one of the most grotesque promo videos, I think, in reality TV history. Take a look.
Hi, I'm Ilaria Baldwin.
And I'm Alec Baldwin.
And we have an announcement to make.
Good God, no.
No, definitely not. We're done having kids. This is about our show.
We're inviting you into our home to experience the ups and downs, the good, the bad, the
Oh, you
wild,
must be
and the
hurting
crazy.
for money.
Say, we are the Baldwins. We are the
And the
Baldwins.
lawyers.
We are the Baldwins. All that is it.
Here we go.
But
One,
that's
two,
it.
three. We are the Baldwins. And we're coming to
Using
TLC.
money to pay for the lawyers.
So I have two thoughts to. We're going to be quick on this debate. I have two thoughts about this, Esther. One is, I thought these two really were concerned about privacy.
Yeah.
And here they are now putting cameras onto their entire family 24/7 for a reality show. And secondly, he is about to take part in a criminal trial about the fact that he shot a gun at a woman who then died.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
I think
I
I just think on every level this is grotesque, isn't it?
It's image repair.
Yes,
Hang on a-
I can't think of anything worse than watching something about Alec Baldwin and his excessively fertile wife. With
the dodgy accent.
Oh my God! And the 9. I can't even. I couldn't remember 9 kids' names. But this just shows how in poor taste this man lives his life. To be going through a criminal trial and then trying to open the doors to his I don't know, Manchester United-sized family life. It's just ridiculous.
Nine children. I think.
Oh my
Sounds
God.
very familiar.
I think Alec Baldwin maybe needs to shoot a few more
Sounds
blanks.
very familiar.
Oh my God.
Shooting blanks would have been a good idea.
Yeah.
Riley, what do you make of this?
He shot blanks before.
No, I agree. Me watching that, I'm like, this is a guy who attacked the media relentlessly for invading his privacy. And now he's putting his family and his children on full display. And quite honestly, like Esther said, I can't imagine anyone who would want to watch this.
Well,
so I think, we ask ourselves, is this image repair? Is this the money grab? I don't know.
There it is.
We're on the verge of something historic here, because if Ernest Owens can find it in himself to agree, we have a united panel. Ernest, Alec Baldwin.
I agree.
Happy Pride Month, everyone.
Ernest, I'm glad we finally found a point of agreement. Thank you to my panel. Riley, congrats for the book. It's a great read.
Well, that was pretty good. At least
Well, former president.
Gentlemen, boys and girls. Maybe, I don't know. Let me know what you think. My tooth is starting to hurt and I have a headache, so I'm going to have to go lay down. Or just because I'm getting tired of listening and watching. No, I really do have a headache, but I'm not telling y'all how to think. I'm just telling you to think. It's good to hear other people's points of views, even if they are kind of retarded and gay. I mean, there's still opinion, right?